All right, it says we're live. I'm going to double check audio. All right, we're good. Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before we get started, as always, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai,
Also, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to all you brothers out there. And we're just going to get into a lesson. As you see in the title, control your emotions, Jake, and stop being so angry. And we got a young brother, all right, in our camp, and it's like basically every morning, he has brothers, send a curse on this person, that person, whatever the case may be. He's always just so damn angry. And we got on him about that actually on last Thursday class. We myself and other Akim were reproving, rebuking him, giving him some pointers, exhorting him. All right. We had to get on his ass again. All right. And that's for a lot of you brothers, man. Learn how to control your emotions, and like I was telling the brother, actually at Thursday class, I said, really, the things that you go through aren't as serious as you're thinking, All right. A lot of this stuff is actually really lightweight, and you just got to deal with it. It's a part of your cross, your burden. Deal with the afflictions, embrace them. Actually, okay. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, every so often when it's something serious, you let brothers know, like, hey, curse this, particular individual. All right. And I'll say this. I know you said this, Rapaya. Learn to have some mercy too. I know you mentioned that to the brother where, you might be asking brothers to curse out a family member, and who knows, maybe that brother or sister, whatever, right, may come into this truth. You never know.
Right.
All right. Or, you may, I'll say this, somebody in the world, they may help you out in your walk. You don't want to necessarily just curse them just because you got a little, angry. Because I'll say this, really, you got in your emotions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
See? But you got anything? Because I had a couple precepts.
And you got to be spiritual because the Lord is allowing this person to vex you. And you got to understand that these people are still plugged into the matrix. They got demons on them. Yeah. These demons, these spirits, they know who you are in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes just hear the message. Sometimes the Lord is trying to tell you something.
Yeah, that's heavy. You got to remember, you had that donkey speak to, was it Balaam?
Yep.
See, the Lord can use these people, all right, to send a message to you, like you said, Rapaya. Yeah. So just keep these things in mind, all right? But I got this precept here in Proverbs 16:32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. All right, so it's better to to be able to control your your spirit, your emotions. All right, not to be so angry. You see,
right?
All right, you can't let every little thing bother you. All right, because really a lot of this starts going into being over righteous. Really, when you start thinking about it, and what does it say in Ecclesiastes? Be not over righteous over much.
Yeah.
Why shouldst thou destroy thyself?
Right.
You're gonna lose your marbles. Literally mentally. You know what I'm saying? Getting vexed at everything. You're gonna get yourself into some predicaments. You might do something, now you're in jail, or you get fired at the job. You might have family members cut you off. And I'll say, like I told the brother at class, you don't want to burn bridges, man. You never know when you might need somebody's help. So be very wise, in your movements and in your actions. You see?
Right.
Did you have something, Rapar?
Yeah, I got a
Okay,
couple.
I have a few too. Should I just keep reading or?
Oh, if you're still reading, yeah, keep reading.
I got this one, Ecclesiastes 7:9.
Oh yeah.
Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry,
Yep.
for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. You see, if you're always angry, all right, you're really a fool, man. You know.
Right.
No, I'll say this. No, I'll say this for the. He's a young brother. You know what I'm saying? Young in age and also in spirit, so he's got a lot to learn. But
Right.
I'll say this in general, man. Like, look, if you're always angry, you know, you're just gonna make some foolish, decision makings. All right, you know, it's not gonna be beneficial to your walk. There's a time and a place for everything. You see, Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, tells you that there's a time and a season for everything.
Yep.
Or every purpose under the sun.
That's right.
Not everything it has to be with you shouting back at somebody. You know what I mean? The scriptures always say what? That a soft answer turneth away wrath.
Yep.
You don't always have to, buck up with these people. Let them get the victory. Their little carnal W's. See, because look, at the end of the day, we're looking for the big spiritual W, the real victory. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say. You gotta wink at some of this stuff too, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, it's in my other room. Hold on, I got a scripture for that. One of my favorites. It's right here in Proverbs.
But yeah, you gotta just, like I said, you gotta wink at particular things. Because I'll say this: a lot of it's really not as serious as you think. And then 2, you gotta remember, wickedness, has to reach its height. All right, before this place gets destroyed. With that being said, really, when you see, now I'll say this: it's a balance to it. Of course, you're gonna get vexed in the spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't let it overtake you. That's the message behind this video. My thing is, when you see a lot of you see an increase in more activities. You know what I'm saying, with these viral affections. A part of you should actually be happy, and the reason why is, look, as we see more of this, that gives the Lord justification in destroying this place.
Yeah.
Okay, you see, the part of you should be rejoicing, like, all right, cool. That means we're that much closer to the end.
Right. Yeah, no, the Lord said all these things so that we wouldn't be offended. We're to look out for these things. These are signs of the end times,
That's right.
Shalom, Avshia, shalom, brother. But I got a few now to back you up. This is Proverbs 19:11. The discretion of a man deferreth his anger, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression. This is in the NLT. Sensible people control their temper. Ooh. They earn respect by overlooking wrongs. Because you're putting your trust in the Lord, who's going to judge righteously, man. All right. And also consider that, hey, when a man's ways please the Lord, he makes his enemies be at peace with him. Maybe your walk is off at the moment. You know what I'm saying? And this is another sign the Lord's trying to tell you, man. All right. That's why we got to constantly examine ourselves, But this is James 1:19 and 20. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of Yahweh. When Yahushua came here, he had all the spiritual power, but he came as a lamb, all right? Humble, lowly, all right? He could have executed judgment left and right, but he didn't, man. All right? He put his trust in the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, because this is the straight and narrow that we got to walk too. You got to keep that in mind. We're in this flesh being examples of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right, we're not here to execute judgment right now, man. That's being carnal. That's enmity with the Most High.
What was it say? I think it's in Luke, if I'm not mistaken. It says Yahushua said, "If this were my kingdom, my servants would fight."
Oh yeah.
Clearly, right now we're in the time of the Gentiles, as the scriptures talk about. You see, look, we got to let all these things play out. Eventually, yeah, the Lord's going to give us the power to execute judgment, right? But as of now, no, we got to be, humbled. Before honors what? Humility.
Yeah.
That's the stage that we're in right now. humiliation stage. All right, because it's funny because Esau, they do a humiliation ritual, right?
Yep.
Well, they really got it from the Lord. They really got it from the Lord.
Right.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua just does it on the right hand side,
Right.
righteously. You see?
That's why those that go through that ritual, they get exalted in society. They're on movies and TV shows, rappers and all that. They get the deals and everything because they're of this world. You know what I'm saying? They're following the protocol. That's the way.
I got some. If you don't have anything.
Oh, go ahead. I got it. Go ahead.
This is Proverbs 25 and 28. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. So basically, hey, you have no protection. Hey, your house is crumbling if you can't control your emotions, man. Okay, there's nothing. I'll say this: there's nothing wrong with having emotions, but it's being overly emotional. That's the issue. You see,
right? It says, be angry and sin not. You know what I'm saying? Because this anger, you know what I'm saying. If you let Satan win, you'll get into your flesh, dead man, and you'll do some shit, and you'll be like Paul, like, man, I have this thing in me that's warring inside of me, roughly paraphrasing, and that's the thing. You got to stay in the spirit. This is a daily fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why examining yourselves and constantly praying to the Lord. Direct your way.
That's something that we told him too, man. I'll say this, quit focusing on these people. Focus on yourself, man. All right. What does it say? I think it was the second Ezra. I think it's the 9th chapter. It talks about inquire how the righteous shall be saved.
Yeah, like verse 13, I think, or 14.
Don't worry about how the wicked shall be destroyed. Don't worry about every little thing that they do. The Lord's got a hitman out there for them. Those spirits created for vengeance. We already know that at some point the Lord's going to pull their card and it's a wrap. What you need to focus on is yourself and then the brotherhood. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what really matters.
Abounding in this knowledge of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you know what I'm saying? So you can feed the flock properly,
Exactly.
Consistently.
Because I was bringing this out actually in my last lesson. What is that? Matthew the 25th chapter. It talks about the 5 foolish and the 5 wise virgins.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Look, we're all, brides. And, the bridegroom, which is Yahushua, he's coming. We don't know the time, the date, but we know it's soon. And with that being said, we're trying to prep ourselves up as much as we can. We want to get because, a bride, right? Before she gets married, she's got a whole team, bro, to make sure her hair's right.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's nothing on her teeth. She's got her makeup done correctly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dressed is fitting perfect. You see? Right now we're in that stage where we're all trying to make sure that we look presentable, for Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You see? So with that being said, these people in this world, look, man, don't focus on them like that. Just let certain things slide. And honestly, the less you pay attention, the less they even bother you, to be honest.
Yeah.
They start getting the point, and they get distracted by whatever it is in this world. You see?
Yeah. And like Lot, Lot was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. You know what I'm saying? You can be vexed, all right, but don't let it consume you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, be prudent and get the fuck out, away from them. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to be around that all day.
Exactly. And then my thing is, don't even entertain it, man.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because the second you start entertaining these things, like, right, you got that fucking mad face. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got that death stare in your eyes. That's when they know, oh yeah, I caught his attention now.
Yeah, I'm getting under his skin.
Exactly. So
I'm sorry, real quick. Apostle Tahar said that, hey, when he's out in the Matrix, basically the world, he opens the door for the Edomites. Here you go, sir, or here you go, ma'am. He's playing the part. You know what I'm saying? Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to.
Absolutely. You know, like
Like,
King David, you know, he was wise and the Lord was with him in all his ways, man. You gotta use wisdom, you know.
you know, while I'm at the job, I'm constantly, you know, dealing with different spirits, different people. You know, I got, you know, to interact with, you know, a lot of individuals, and honestly, you know, you got to play like a game with these people. You know what I'm saying? You know, they put a mask on, so do you. Put your mask on and just play the part. You know, I'm not saying you got to get, you know, buddy with these individuals, but just say a couple things. Talk to them about, you know, whatever, some worldly stuff that's not, you know, political or religious. All right, and watch how, you know, easy your day goes by. See what I'm saying?
Con.
But I got a precept if you don't got anything.
No, go for it.
Got a fast one. This is Proverbs 11:1. It says, "A false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is His delight." So you got to have a balance in this thing, okay? You know, like how the brother Raphael was just stating. Now, there's nothing wrong with being vexed and angry, but look, you can't let it consume you. You know, you got to let stuff slide. You got to you know, just honestly just move on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's so much more important things to worry about than some, you know, sodomite. You know what I'm saying? Or some, you know, woman or whatever the case may be.
And you know, the interaction just, you know, lasted a few seconds. You know what I'm saying? This shit is not like following you all day. You know, for the most part, it's just some shit that happened in the moment, and you're letting it bother you, man. You know, you can't let that happen.
Exactly.
But did you read Proverbs 14 and 17, or was it just Proverbs 14:29? Or
I'm not even sure, Oxalakia, but because I already moved on. But I got this.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I got Proverbs 4:5 because you talked about walking in wisdom. This is Proverbs 4:5. Walk in wisdom walk in wisdom toward them that are without, meaning not in this truth, right? Those that don't have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Redeeming the time. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man.
That's right.
So yeah, you gotta you know, walk with wisdom, move with wisdom, and you gotta you know, let your speech, you know, be always with grace and seasoned with salt. Okay, meaning you gotta use wisdom. You know.
Yeah.
You know, Jake acts like they don't know how to talk to anybody, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's to me, I just look at certain Jake. I'm like, it's ridiculous, honestly. Now I understand you may not have the best social skills, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. But man, look, like how you said, Rapaya, the apostle, you know, he opens the door and says, you know, hey, here you go, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's friendly.
You know, how you doing? Whatever the case may be, you know what I mean?
With a smile too. He says it with a smile, you know.
Like it's not that hard, bro. Like how I was telling them, why get so mad, you know, at this sodomite? You know, of course, now certain things, you know, like I said, you know, you may be vexed, but man, like I told the brother, I said, look, you got to remember, the Lord plagued him with that. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
The Lord plagued this dude to be a sodomite, man. That's the Lord's will. So with that being said, hey, you just when you understand it, you just accept it. Like, damn, man, that's a terrible judgment. You know.
Well, that should put fear into you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, here's my thing. I'm like, hey, the water y'all about me on shy, that ain't me. You know.
Because it could be you. You know what I'm saying? That's the scary part. You know.
Yeah.
So, because to give you a testimony, one of the elder bishops from Connecticut was in town, you know, some years ago, and he said that there was a man that was in the truth for 20 years, fell out, and he started blowing rods. Man, he became a sodomite after 20 years in the truth. So you could just imagine, you know, that's why those that endure to the end, the same shall be saved. So you got to abide in the fear of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, with fear and trembling serve the Lord, man. You know what I'm saying? Because this is serious business right here, man. All right, look at Judas Iscariot, really close to Yahushua, doing miracles and all these, you know, wonders as well. And look what happened to him, man. You know, we don't have a sure ticket yet. You know what I'm saying? We let's get on the chariot, man. Let's endure to the end. All right, and be on our best behavior because the Lord is watching all of us at the end of the day. You know, His eyes are upon the righteous. You know, so hey, no, we have to please the Lord. We have to be His delight, man. You know, fast and pray, man, constantly. You know what I'm saying? Because we're in those times, man. We're at the end of this thing.
Yep. You know? I got another one. This is Ephesians 5:15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Yep. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. All right. So always remember, you know, what the will of the Lord is. You know, like I mentioned earlier, you got to continue to see more wickedness because the Lord has to increase it in order to be justified in destroying it.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to have that in mind. Once you start, you know, remembering all the scriptures, right? Because hey, it goes into that in was it Deuteronomy? It talks about how the scripture should be a frontlets, you know.
Frontlets between your eyes.
You know what I'm saying?
Filter everything out through the scriptures.
You know, what is that like in the movie They Live, right?
Yeah.
He put on the
you
sun,
see now?
he put on them glasses and then he saw, you know, everything for what it really was.
Right.
Know?
He saw the truth.
Yep. And that's basically what the Lord has done for us. So with that being said, if you know all these things, this shouldn't even, you shouldn't even be that angry. Like, I mean, of course you're going to be angry, but like I said, it's a balance. You know, you learn how to control it now, you know?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You see?
Yeah.
I was going to say, you bring this out a lot, Doc. You know, look, you know, when you're out here in the world, be Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and Bruce Wayne, you know what I'm saying? But when you're out there on the line or doing the videos, hey, that's when you can go in and
be Superman.
Be Superman. Be
Batman.
You know, all right?
The Israelite man, you know what I'm saying? Shit.
Okay.
You know, that's the time, you know, like you said, Ecclesiastes 3 is a time and place for everything, man. But when you're in the matrix, you're in the world, hey, you got to put on that facade, man. They can't know, you know what I'm saying? And you can't give it away. You got to have that poker face. You know what I'm saying? You can't be like, look at this son of mine. Like, what the fuck is he doing here? He's in class with me. That's madness. Hey, marvel not that we're in fucking Babylon, bro. What are you talking about?
Oh God.
You know what I'm saying? There's sodomites all over the fucking place.
Yeah, guess what? You're gonna have fucking women that are your bosses, women that are
on
your
the period.
You know what I'm saying? That are your co-workers, women that are your teachers. You know what I'm saying?
That's mad.
Deal with it. You know, you just fucking bite the bullet, as they say. Deal with the shit.
And just know it's temporary. This ain't forever, man. This kingdom's ending, man. We're at the end of this motherfucking place. Right? Understand that. This is Proverbs 13:20. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed, you know? So, hey, walk in wisdom, man. We have examples here, you know? We're in the steps of a wise man, you know what I'm saying? You got bros that you can hang out with and learn from, you know? Ask questions about, but, you know, every morning is, hey, put curses on this. Man, read your scriptures and bring out a question, man, because, you know, he's a proselyte, he's a new brother, you know what I'm saying? So,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So just, you know, think of it like that, man. Use your time wisely to abound in this truth, this knowledge, this wisdom, man, because the time is short. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Exactly, man. Hey, that's beautiful that you said that. You know, brothers should be really focused on, you know, getting these precepts, you know,
getting understanding.
Yeah, getting understanding. You know, brothers, you know, need to be, you know, thinking about the next video that they're gonna make.
Yeah, topic. Yeah, to feed the flock. Yeah.
All right, you know, carnally speaking, hey, Jake should be working out.
Yeah, it's a balance. Yeah, you know.
Go stimulate your mind. Maybe go to a museum or something. You know, I don't know where, you know, brothers live at, but hey, do something that's, you know,
spiritual.
You know, spiritual, that's beneficial in your walk. You see?
Right. You know, the next precept is kind of cold too. This is Proverbs 13:21. Evil pursueth sinners, but to the righteous good shall be repaid, man. All right. And Luke, it says that the Lord is going to avenge his elect, man. All right. So don't worry about these, you know, so much about these, you know, putting curses on these people. They're already cursed, man. they're already marked. You know what I'm saying? Like he the very quoted, man. Think about how the godly are going to be saved and when. You know, when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Lord's going to lift up that standard. All right, when Isaiah 4:1 comes and they're hungry, we're going to break bread and multiply it in the name of the Lord. Like, man, that's the times that we're living in, man. You know what I'm saying? I wish I said everything I did, you're going to do and greater. That's the times that we're living in, man, where you're going to see the apostles do great miracles and wonders right now, man.
Yep.
You know, these niggas are already cursed, man. Fuck these people, man.
Yeah, they're through. Hey, the script in Sirach it says what? Give me any of the plague but the plague of the heart.
Right.
You know, the Lord's got these people literally smitten with madness.
Oh yeah.
The scriptures talk about how we have a sound mind. We have a complete mind because of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And that's where, when you start taking yourself out of these situations and you really just start, examining things, you are really grateful and thankful that the Lord opened your mind,
Oh yeah.
because to find a man of the Lord, that's very few, far and in between. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's a rarity. So, with that being said, if you understand these scriptures and you believe that's no joke, man.
Mm-hmm.
And this is some high level knowledge you're dealing with. You see, and not everybody is able to obtain it, no matter how much they want it. So, like I said, be grateful and thankful that you have what you have. But I got a precept. Unless you have something to say, Raphael.
No, I'm gonna get a precept because what you just said. Go ahead.
I got a scripture here. This is Proverbs 16:7, and it reads here: "When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him." All right, so because I mentioned about focusing on yourself and the brothers, right? That's what you should be doing. Because look, if you're doing what's pleasing to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, as it says there, what your enemies shall be at peace with thee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You see. So a focus on serving Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and everything will fall into place properly. Just another thing, like I was telling the Ark, like you got to be patient, which patience goes into what? Suffering.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to just deal with things. You got to
Micah 7:9.
Endure the afflictions, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will bear the indignation because I sinned against him.
Exactly.
I sinned against the Lord, man. I'm gonna bear this, man. So shut the fuck up. So I was just watching Dave Chappelle, man, earlier. Slovakia. But kind of, just deal with it, you know what I'm saying? And just know it's temporary. It's not forever, you know what I mean? But
hey, like the brother said, in the comments, he said it's coming to the time where we're going to get all our anger out anyway. Yep. The Lord's going to give us the power on this side and the next. He said, this BS is almost over. Exactly. Yeah. Eventually, you're going to get those spiritual powers, man, to execute that judgment,
Yep.
Hey, we're talking about on this side.
Right, in the flesh, flesh. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, in the kingdom, of course, we're going to be them, those rulers. So, it's coming. But right now, as we, we're reading and talking about, and we mentioned, before honor is humility. We're in the humiliation process, just like whom? Yahushai.
Right.
You mentioned it already, Raphael, about Yahushai, how he could have destroyed, that kingdom, right? Yeah. Right then and there.
But that wasn't the Father's will.
Yeah. And then it's funny because I was listening to the Yashwamba, and he was going into about, how Yahushai pleased Yahweh, right? And he was going into how what pleased him was his obedience to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, or Yahweh, his will, what he wanted for Yahushai to do. And what was that? For him to, to be lowly and to be that ultimate sacrifice.
Yep. And Yahushai said, if there's another way, Father, please take this cup and give me another way. And he didn't respond. He said, okay, I'm going to just deal with it. He was on there for 3 hours, man, being crucified. And before that, getting his ass whooped, man, like no other man.
Man.
Isaiah 53, man, you got to read that, brother. All right?
Yeah.
Because, hey, Yahweh Shai suffered for all of us so that we don't taste death in these last days, man. He said there'll be some here that will not taste death. All right?
Mm-hmm.
But I got a script real quick. This is Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 3. I'll start at 20. For the power of the Lord is great, and he is honored of the lowly. Seek not out things that are too hard for thee, neither search the things that are above thy strength. But what is commanded thee, think thereupon with reverence, for it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret. Be not curious in unnecessary matters, for more things are showed unto thee than men understand.
Ooh.
You know?
Heavy.
So, hey, we have the blueprint to salvation, man. All right? And we already know what's going to happen to the unbelievers, man. They're not going to make it. All right, they're going to suffer the worst death ever, man. Pain, death by pain, by fire this time. You see? So keep that in mind, man. And again, like Judas Iscariot, who was among Yahweh Shai and the apostles, and look what happened to him. You know what I'm saying? So now we have to abide in the fear of the Lord, man, and pray constantly and fast often, man, as the day approaches. You see? Because those that endure to the end, the same shall be saved, man. All right, and one wrong move, you know, because it's a deep water on one side, fire on the other. One wrong move, and you're falling over, man. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be careful, man. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power, you know. So don't let these fools, you know, throw you off your square, man.
Con, I got a precept. This is Proverbs 4 and 26. And it reads here, ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. Point being is ponder the path of thy feet. You know, really think about what you're doing. You know, don't be hasty in your decisions.
Right.
You know, say don't be impulsive. Don't be like Esau. Don't be like the fucking woman. Okay? You know, we're Israelite men. That we got to think before we do.
Yep.
All right? See?
Yeah, think before you react to something. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And it's going to get you out of a lot of trouble, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, you know, we talked to this brother about a couple things. And we mentioned this too in that Thursday class. We told him, like, you know, with certain decisions that you make, that's not going to only just affect you. That's going to affect the body now. And you got to think about that. It's not to see, once you come into the truth, you have to be very selfless. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you got to really have that mindset. You know, this is not just a you know, I me situation. You know, we got a whole team, a whole family here.
Oh yeah, a whole flock we oversee. You know,
Yep.
we're privileged to be in this position to oversee, man. This is not given to anybody, man. You know what I'm saying? Many are called, few are chosen. Shit. And this is the Father's business right here. You gotta take care of this, man, with love and patience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Long suffering. You know, it's to build you up in the long run, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, again, you gotta be spiritual about these things. You know, and think of how would Shai handle this situation?
Exactly.
How would he walk? How would he answer? You know. And you start thinking like that, then wisdom's going to meet you in every thought, man. And yes, you're going to make mistakes. You're in the flesh. You're going to fuck up. But those mistakes, like King David, you're going to have it ever before you, man. And you're going to meditate on those things. You're going to feel bad about those things to the point where you're not going to do it again, Lord willing. You know what I'm saying? Because shit, man, we even in the truth, we fall, you know, and make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? But what a just man falls 7 times and gets back up, and he continues to fight. You know. Because we're all work in progress, man. We're still in this fucking flesh, these chains of darkness, man. You know, that's why we got to continue crying out until Yahweh Shai comes to get us.
Yeah. You guys still do repair now?
No, that was it. You know what I'm saying? Lord willing, it was edifying.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, we're going to end this lesson. You know, we just wanted to touch on this topic. You know, so hey, brothers, hey, don't be so angry. All right, control your emotions. You know, suffer. You know, be patient.
Ooh, yeah, you know what? Yes, you said suffer. Hey, Yahushua was made perfect through sufferings, man. And we're following his way. And we got to suffer too so that, we're with him. He said, those that serve me, where I am, my servant shall be there too, and my Father will honor him. Come on, man. Come on. This is part of the program. This is Israel's portion, baby. All right? It's good for us to suffer, man.
Hey, you know what? So, I got to get this. We'll end it off with
Please get it. Please, man. I'm getting hot. Woo!
We'll end it off with this one, though.
God, I know, brother. I'm just saying. It's exciting stuff. I love talking about the scriptures, man. You know what I'm saying? About Yahushua and the Heavenly Father Yahweh, man.
Yes, sir. You know? But this is Sirach 2:1. And this is something that we all got to remember, okay? Sirach 2:1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble.
Right.
Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. And look, the Lord, I'll say this, the Lord, he abases and he exalts all the time, because look, hey, you deal with some stuff and it could be a couple weeks, couple months, shit, it could even be a couple years. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord just increases you, drastically. It happens a lot. Brothers who've been in this truth for some time know what I'm talking about. All right. So with that being said, hey, it might be your time where you just gonna have to deal with some shit for a couple, like I said, a couple weeks or a couple months. Hey, bite the bullet. And I'll say this. Meditate on what the Lord's trying to teach you, because there's always a lesson within all this.
Oh yeah.
Okay? You see?
Lessons within the lessons, baby.
All right. So really remember that.
That's the spiritual part. Walking in the spirit, man. Like Benji says, man, the name of the game is to stay in the spirit. You see? Yep. And you'll notice these things. You'll catch it. Then you'll hear that voice,
Con. And it says here, let me finish it off. Sirach 2:4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Take it cheerfully. And yes, hey, does that chastisement feel good at that present moment? No, it doesn't. Okay?
But it brings a peaceable fruit, man. You know what I'm saying? It's working something in you, man. Just, you got to go through the process.
Trust
you
the
never
process.
get to the finish line.
I trust the process.
Shit. It's a lovely process. The Lord said, I'm with you every step of the way, even to the end of this age, man. What? Hell yeah. This is, man. Man, this is exciting, bro.
And it says, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
Absolutely.
For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Look, if you're going through, these trials and tribulations, the Lord sees you as an acceptable man.
Yeah.
The Lord, because what does the scripture say? I think it's in Hebrews. It's also, I believe, in Proverbs, if I'm not mistaken. But it talks about how basically, if you're not chastised, by the Lord, the Lord sees you as a bastard.
Yeah, you're not a son then.
You know what I'm saying? You're not a son. So if you're getting chastised, you're dealing with, X, Y, Z things. Hey, be thankful and grateful, because look, the Lord's dealing with you.
Right.
And I'll say this: eventually, the Lord, eases up on the punishment. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. Sirach says he's first going to take you through crooked paths.
Yeah.
He's going to try you. He's going to test you. You know what I'm saying?
You're going to go through some shit, but the Lord's all about balance.
Yeah.
Eventually the Lord eases up. He blesses you. He gives you a little time to breathe, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Throws you a bone or two, so to speak. Hey, you know what I'm talking about, Rapire.
Oh yeah.
All right. You see? All right. But so point being though is, the Lord's all about balance, man. You're gonna go through ups and downs in this thing. So hey, the Apostle Paul said, "What? I know how to be abound and be abased."
Yep.
All right. You see? Let me keep reading. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fail. Ye that fear the Lord, believe him, and your reward shall not fail. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good and for everlasting joy and mercy. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? You see? And Yahweh Bashem Yahushai always, protects his men. He answers their prayers and he helps them, all right, when it's needed. You see? But
Yeah, and he gives you every needful thing in due season.
man, I was just thinking that.
You just gotta wait it out, brother. You know what I mean? That's our lot, man. This is our portion. And also for proselytes, newcomers, you gotta eat the whole roll.
Woo!
You know what I'm saying? Because hey, if you haven't and you're acting like this, and you're missing out on a lot, man. Because you gotta eat all the scriptures up, man.
That's right.
And get that understanding.
Yes, sir. But hey, Rapal, you got it, man.
And with that, we hope this lesson was edifying and exhorting. Again, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Hakudash, Dabash, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and taught us this truth. And salutations to all the Akim, pushing this word in truth and in sincerity with charity. Shalom and a Baba Ball. Kwam Yasharala.
Shalom.
Shalom, brother.